always going to be a difficult afternoon, George, but from your point of view as a coach, pre-season, you've picked a squad, you've selected a squad, you've recruited. Yeah, just how frustrating is it you just can't put that into action if you cannot put the players on the field?
Yeah, well, look, I think we thought we had a pretty good plan coming into the season. We were pretty excited about the guys who we recruited to bolster the squad. As you say, the plan looks completely different to what we come out with. We've done our best to adjust, adapt, try and get people covering different positions. But I think we've had different lineups every single week these first 5 games. People playing out of position. Even today, James Venter, Will Joseph having to come off. So it's nothing's gone to plan, frankly. I think this break's coming at a good time from the Prem for sure. Hopefully we get some bodies, a bit of recovery done, but also I think we've got to be realistic. We played some really exciting rugby last year, and we're digging in and trying to play that exciting brand of rugby, but there's just too many guys out there aren't in tune with the system. We put Exeter under a lot of pressure today, especially in the second half, but we're just not coming away with any points. Those little moments that came off for us last year that scored a lot of tries just aren't coming off, and we need to be a little bit smart, I think, as coaches. Over this block, we'll get some back for the next Prem game, but it's not. We're still a couple of games after that before we'll hopefully be back to full health. But the Prem is ruthless. There's no doubt about it. You lose as many bodies as we have, and you come down here and play a full strength Exeter. It's really hard, and the lads are fighting hard. None of them are throwing the towel in, which is credit to them, but it's hard.
And it's difficult. It gets in your mind, isn't it? I mean, first half, we saw Exeter at their best. When the game was looser, we also saw Gloucester at their best. A couple of really good tries, laid down the mark and showed what you can do when the opportunities are there. So first step tackling, maybe let Exeter through, but you got a chance to show what you could do.
Yeah, and I think those tries don't happen if you don't keep putting your pedal to the floor, trying to promote the game that we played last year. So, when those moments come off and the offloads and all the rest of it, there's been so much work to get that done. I think more when we actually had some nice launch plays in their 22 and dropped the ball or lost it on a third phase because we just weren't quite connected or didn't get to the breakdown. They're the ones that in theory they're simple, but I think they probably feel simple to us because of the work we did last year, and clearly some lads are struggling with it. So those 2 tries were pretty outstanding, and again, that's how we want to play rugby. We're not going to go back on how we want to play. There's just a few bits we've got to have a look at.
Must have addressed some things at half time because it was much tighter second half, and as you say, territorial. You put the pressure on Exeter, but difficult to defend and then switch into that attack play when you want to.
Yeah, I think it was about 25 minutes in the second half. No one had scored, and we were sort of camped in their 22, but we just needed to get one of those opportunities across the line, and we coughed the ball up too many times, off launches, unfortunately, and that's something, like I say, we've got to have a look at, because you work really hard. Like you say, the boys were pretty heroic in the start of that second half, not to come away with any points, and then for them to get those 2 tries towards the end in the last 10 or so minutes is tough.
So forward from here, as you say, you've got a lot of work to do in the next few weeks when there's this bit of a break on from the Prem. No rest for you?
No rest for the coaches. I think, look, there's a group of players who weren't expected to play. Some of them weren't expected to play in the Prem, never mind play 5 Prem games or 4 Prem games, and they're bruised and battered, and it's a baptism of fire for them. So we've got to look after those guys. We will play a young team in the Prem Cup, and we'll get those lads prepared. But I think there's a lot of guys there who they've come in, they got thrown in the deep end, they've played over. Some of them have never played in the Prem. They've now got a real taste of how relentless the Prem is, and we've got to look after those guys. So there's a balance in the squad now of getting ready for the Prem Cup. Rest and recovery for a lot of the boys, try and nurse a few bangs through, but certainly the coaches, we've got a lot of work to do in this month.
George, thanks for your time.
Thanks very much.